When I think of limitless, I think of dreaming big. Dreaming so big that we make the impossible possible. At NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, there's a motto we all live by. Dare mighty things. Dare to do what's never been done before. Dare to push the limits. Dare to go to Mars and beyond. JPL has done what no one else in the world has. Land 5 rovers on another planet. A true example of making the impossible possible. But in order to dare mighty things, we need to break our own barriers and help others remove theirs. These rovers, Pathfinder, Spirit, Opportunity, Curiosity, and Perseverance, are named after qualities needed to break those barriers and the traits that were key in my journey to becoming limitless. It all starts with a dream. As children, we were told nothing is impossible and that we could be anything that we wanted to be. We dreamed about things that excited us, things we were passionate about, dreams that felt so big we didn't think we could possibly dream any bigger. For me, I've always known I've wanted to be an aerospace engineer, and that was well before I could spell aerospace or engineer. Honestly, I had no fears of what the future would hold, and I wasn't afraid to tell anyone what I wanted to be. For example, when I was a little girl, I used to visit my dad at work at an aerospace company. And one day, this guy came up to me and asked me what I wanted to be when I grew up. Of course, I knew I wanted to be an aerospace engineer, but part of me also wanted to lead them. So assuming he was another engineer, I told him that I was gonna be his boss's boss. After he walked away, my dad started laughing and was like, "Do you know who that was?" Obviously, I didn't. But apparently, I just told the president of an aerospace company that I was gonna be his boss's boss. I was so confident, and I believe that was because my parents never once doubted me in my big dreams. I couldn't imagine as an adult going up to anyone, let alone the president of a company, and being so fearless. But as children, when we were told to dream big, it didn't come with any rules of gender norms or any other restrictions. We truly could be whatever we wanted to be. Although that was a big dream, I still didn't think NASA was in the realm of my possibilities. I didn't even think NASA was a path for me. I think there are many factors that go into why we limit ourselves in our dreams. We can have all the passion in the world, but sometimes we don't know all the paths that are available to us. We can be restricted by our surroundings or deprived of opportunities because of our lack of financial resources, where we grew up, our gender identities, or even our ethnicity. It's hard to know what is truly possible without seeing it for ourselves. I went to a small high school in a small town where only a handful of graduating seniors continued on to college. It took me attending a leadership camp to discover my new path, one much bigger than I had already set. At this camp, the keynote speaker told us his story of biking solo from the northernmost part of North America to the southernmost part of South America at just 18 years old. He ended his speech with, "Don't just shoot for the moon, shoot for the stars. Even if you have to take a break or two on the moon, keep shooting for those stars." And in that moment, I thought, what would be my stars? And I wrote down on my notepad, I'm going to work for NASA. For so long, I had this dream of becoming an aerospace engineer, but it took me meeting someone who I thought did the impossible for me to actually envision that for myself. NASA was now part of my path. But with every path comes a few bumps in the road. When I was a senior in high school, I failed the AP Calculus test, and I didn't get into my dream school, UCLA. One of my teachers even told me I should consider changing my major because engineering might be too hard for me. At the time, I viewed these bumps as roadblocks. But over the years, I've learned that bumps in the road are actually opportunities that create new paths. I've learned that opportunities don't always come when we want them to or in the form we expect them to be in. In the moment, when things don't go as planned, it's hard to see the positive. We have no idea that a better opportunity could be right around the corner. For me, that was SDSU. But at first, I wasn't sure if this was going to be the school for me. I actually ended up calling my mom. I told her I was going to drop out, come back home, and go to community college. Thankfully, she convinced me not to, because SDSU ended up being an essential part of my journey to NASA. With my sights set on NASA, I applied to every NASA internship I could find. After months of waiting, I hadn't heard back from any of them, so I assumed I didn't get one. So that summer, I decided I was going to study abroad. In order to secure my spot, I had to put down the deposit. Literally the day the deposit was due, I had the check written in my hand. I got a call with a summer internship NASA. Talk about the stars aligning, pun intended. I almost missed this opportunity, but could finally say I was actually going to work for NASA. But that summer was nothing like my dreams. I ended up being the only female on the team, which initially never bothered me because I was used to being one of the only females in my engineering courses or clubs. But this summer, I felt like I became the team secretary. I remember leaving that internship so defeated. Part of me thought, maybe my teacher was right. Maybe engineering was too hard for me. Maybe I wasn't smart enough for NASA. Maybe I had been dreaming too big. I felt so alone in this moment. This got me very curious. Why did I feel this way, and was I going to feel this way the rest of my life? Is this what all female engineers felt like? I then realized I had no female role models, and I had actually never met a female engineer. Every guest speaker, every engineer I shadowed, every engineer I worked with were all males. I always thought that was just because females weren't really interested in engineering, but maybe they had similar experiences as me and changed their career path. As of 2022, in the US, only 15% of women are engineers. But that's not the statistic that shocks me. 40% of women who earn engineering degrees either quit or never make it into the profession. 40%. What was happening to make all those little girls who had big dreams make it so far and then quit? I almost became part of that 40%. The Harvard Business Review actually completed a study on this. In the classroom, men and women succeeded equally, so the rigorous coursework was not the issue. What they found was that women started to doubt themselves and their abilities once it came to group projects and internships. A core component of being an engineer is teamwork and collaboration. And almost every female engineering student reported a negative experience during a group project or an internship. They felt they were excluded from the real engineering, tasks with taking notes, making the PowerPoint, organizing or proofreading the work. Imagine your first encounter with your profession and you're treated in a stereotypical way based on your gender. It's no wonder that 40% of women studying engineering never actually become engineers. But I believe that curiosity drives change. So how can we change this? We can't break the glass ceiling alone. We need the support from a community in order to persevere. Perseverance is achieving something despite difficulties, failures, or opposition. After my internship, my confidence had crumbled. And up until this point, confidence was never an issue for me. Remember, I was that little girl who told the president of an aerospace company that I was going to be his boss's boss. But it was my community that helped build me back up. It was my family and friends who believed in me and encouraged me to become a student leader on campus. It was SDSU alumni who inspired me, mentored me, and showed me another side of NASA. They all believed in me when I had pretty much lost all belief in myself. Because of their support, I regained my confidence, and over the last 5 years have been living my dream of working for NASA. I wouldn't be able to stand here to say that I helped land a rover on Mars if it wasn't for their support. If all women had the support system like I did, I'm convinced that 40% statistic would decrease. All little girls who had big dreams could make them a reality. Through this journey, I've learned that nothing is truly impossible, because statistics would show that I might not have made it to where I am today. With Spirit, we'll never be afraid to dream big. We can imagine ourselves achieving the impossible. With Pathfinder, even if there are barriers in the path towards our dreams, we know we can follow the paths of others who have already succeeded or have the courage to forge a new path for ourselves. With opportunity, we know that opportunities never come when we want them to or in the form we're expecting them to be in, but each opportunity will direct us closer towards our dreams. With curiosity, we can ask ourselves, what barriers are we faced with, or others, and how can we break them? With perseverance, we can believe in ourselves and encourage others to believe in themselves. Together, we can push the boundaries of becoming limitless. Together, we can go to Mars and beyond. Thank you.